Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Recording in progress.
Excuse me. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Śrīmad-Bhagavatam class, which is a recording of a class given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, California in 1974. Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 7. Please increase the volume of your listening devices. Sometimes the recording level here is low. All right, without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kṣudrāyuṣāṁ nṛṇām aṅga martyānām ṛtam icchatām ihopahūto bhagavān mṛtyuḥ śāmitra-karmaṇi kṣudrāyuṣāṁ nṛṇām martyānām ṛtam icchatām ihopahūto bhagavān mṛtyuḥ śāmitra-karmaṇi kṣudrāyuṣāṁ nṛṇām martyānām ihopahūto bhagavān mṛtyuḥ śāmitra-karmaṇi kṣudrāyuṣāṁ nṛṇām martyānām ṛtam icchatām ihopahūto bhagavān mṛtyuḥ śāmitra-karmaṇi
Very small.
Of the duration of life. nṛṇām of the human beings. Aṅga, O Sūta Gosvāmī. Martyānām of those who are sure to meet death. ṛtam, eternal life. icchatām of those who desire it. Herein. Upahūtaha, called for being present. Bhagavān, representing the Lord. Mṛtyuḥ, the controller of death. Yamarāja. Śāmitra, suppressing. karmaṇi, performances. Translation. O Sūta Gosvāmī, there are those amongst men who desire freedom from death and get eternal life. They escape the slaughtering process by calling the controller of death, Yamarāja.
kṣudrāyuṣāṁ nṛṇām. Kṣudra, or very small. Ayuṣāṁ, duration of life. As we can compare that an ant's life or a germ's life, they are also living entity. Their duration of life is very small. There are many flies, they take their birth at night in the evening, and the whole night they are busy the same way, eating, sleeping, begetting children, and being afraid of. All the qualities are there. In India we have got experience, they are called Diwali germs or insects. In the evening, before the light, 1, 2, 3, in this way, by midnight, it increases to thousands and millions. And in the morning, at the end of the night, you'll find heaps of insects or dead body. Heaps, millions. So, there are different grades of life. It is called mṛtyuḥ. This material world is called mṛtyuḥ, where everyone dies. But there are grades of duration of life. One living entity has got 4 minutes life, another 10 minutes, another 100 minutes, then days, 1 day, 100 days, then a year, 1 year, or 4 years, or 5 years, or at most 100 years on this planet. The human being can live up to at most 100 years. But in other planets, there are other living entities, demigods, and the highest, the topmost planet is Brahmaloka. And you have learned from Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahmaloka, the duration of life, to our calculation, is very, very long. Sahasra juga pajyantam arhajjat brahmano vidu. In the Brahmaloka, the duration of 12 hours, our 12 hours, morning to evening. That is many millions of years to our calculation. So, even if you go to that planet, Brahmaloka, as you are trying to go to the moon planet, from Shastra we understand in the moon planet, they live up to 10,000 of years according to heavenly calculation. In each planet, in each society, the calculation is different. So, it is calculated that in the moon planet, you can live for 10,000 of years And that calculation is compared, our 6 months equal to 1 day in that planet. So just imagine how many years of our calculation they can live. But Bhagavān Sri Krishna informs us that wherever you may go, the Yamarāja is ready. The representative of Krishna as Yamarāja, just like the magistrate is also the representative of the government. So he is ready to come exactly as you finish your terms of duration of life. That is the way. Abrahma bhuvana lokan punaravartina arjuna. So, at the end of life, everyone becomes disgusted. Therefore, there is some release interval. At the end of life, mostly people, those who are especially ordinary human beings, they do not wish to live anymore. Even from the point of view, this bodily, old body, always diseased, rheumatic, pains. So, and there is no life for an old man, there is no enjoyment, material enjoyment. He wants to enjoy, but he cannot enjoy. Therefore, generally they become disgusted. There was a question, very nice question, by Akbar Badshah, the emperor, Mahomedan emperor, Mughal emperor of India, Akbar Badshah. He was in the 15th century, 500 years ago. So he kept very intelligent ministers. They would reply whatever inquiries are made by the emperor, the particular minister will inform, this is this. So he inquired one minister, his name was, I forget now. So how long the lusty desire continues? Sex desire. So he replied, up to the point of death. So the emperor said, no, how it can be? No, he has got the desire, but he cannot use it. His instruments become dull or useless, therefore, but the desire is there. And I don't believe it. I am not satisfied with this answer. And all right, sir, I will satisfy you. So one day all of a sudden, the minister came to Akbar Badshah, sir, you will have to come with me immediately and take your young daughter with you. So Akbar Badshah could understand there is some meaning, so immediately he prepared and took his young daughter with him. So he asked, where you are going? You'll come to know. So he entered in a house where an old man was on the deathbed, very old man. So the minister requested the emperor that while entering the room, you kindly try to see the face of the lying man who's going to die. So Akbar was very intelligent, so he was seeing the face. So he marked it that the man was looking towards the young girl, not to the emperor. So he said, yes, I have got your answer. So these desires, this is the root cause of our coming to this material world, to enjoy. Enjoyment is there in the spiritual world, but there in the spiritual world, the enjoyer is Krishna, and everyone is enjoyed. That is the position. Just like in the Western countries, the woman declared why we should not have equal rights with the man. But by nature it is different. The man is the enjoyer and the woman is the enjoyed. That is the position. Bhokta and bhogya. There are many social problems in your country. I do not wish to discuss, but it is very grave problems. But they do not know how to systematize the human form of life because they do not know what is the aim of life. That they do not know. So aim of life is to stop this repetition of birth and death. That is the aim of life. The so-called scientists, they do not know it, neither they work for it. They do not know it. So here it is said, kṣudrāyuṣāṁ, those who have got small duration of life, although this small duration of life, human life, in comparison to the duration of life of other planets, it is very, very small. So, but they do not know how to fulfill the mission of living condition during this life. In the animal life, the consciousness is not developed, but in the human form of life, although it is perishable, adhruvam, Prahlāda Maharaj said, adhruvam. Dhruva means certain. So he advised, Kaumaro acharit pragya dharman bhagavān iha durlavam manusam janma tadopi adhruvam arthadam. That is his advice, Prahlāda Maharaj. He was talking with his class friend, 5 years old. So he was teaching them, just become Krishna conscious, chant Hare Krishna. Narad taught him, he listened from Narad, so he was convinced that this is the only business, how to make advance in Krishna consciousness, by chanting Hare Krishna. So he was Hiranyakashipu's son. He did not appoint any teacher to teach him about Krishna consciousness. But when he was in the womb of his mother, Narad Muni advised the mother about Krishna consciousness. She had to leave for some time at the care of Narad Muni when her husband was out being deputed by the demigod, the Hiranyakashipu. So, the woman's anxiety was when her husband will come back. And at that time, the child was within the womb, and he begged a benediction from Narad. Sir, kindly arrange in that way that as long as my husband does not come back, I may not give birth to this child. Narad Muni said, all right, it will be. So Narad Muni was giving him advice about Krishna consciousness, giving her. But her mind was absent. But the child within the womb, he was hearing. He was hearing. This is stated in the Bhagavatam, you'll find. When Prahlāda Maharaj was asked this question by his friend, my dear Prahlāda, we are also being taught by the same teacher, you are also being taught by the same teacher, you are a prince, you cannot go out, where from you have learned all this nice instruction? So he replied that this instruction was given by Narada, so it was given to my mother, but as woman she has forgotten. And I remember. But that is the difference between a child in the womb and a grown-up woman. You see, that is by nature. They forget. Sri Shudra Dijabandhuna Trayina Sutigochara. Therefore, Mahabharata was created by Vyasdev. Vedic instruction through history, through battle of Kurukshetra. Because Sri Shudra, woman, Shudra and Dijabandhu, man born in high class family, but behavior is different. They are called Dijabandhu. So they cannot understand the Vedic lessons directly. It is not possible. They have no such intelligence. Sri, Shudra and Dijabandhu. The Vedanta Sutra says, Janmad sajataha annayad itaratascha artheshu. They cannot understand. Therefore, through Mahabharata, they are instructed. History they can hear. So, Prahlāda Maharaj says, it is the duty of human being, even from childhood, Kaumara. Kaumara means from the age of 5th year up to 10th year. This is called Kaumara. So, people should be educated about this. That the problem is how to stop Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. This education, this is called Bhagavat instruction. You are noting, we are talking on Srimad Bhagavatam. The subject matter is how one shall transfer himself from this material world to the spiritual world and thereby stop birth, death, old age and disease. This is the whole subject matter. So, martyānām ṛtam icchatām. Martyānām. They should be conscious that I do not wish to die. And why death is forced upon me? This is intelligent question. This is the most intelligent man's question. I do not want death. Just like if there is immediately some natural disturbance, I have got experience. Sometimes there was little trembling. The front house, the people are crying, especially ladies, screaming. And that I have seen many times. As soon as there is big trembling, everyone becomes afraid, now we are going to die. So, everyone is afraid of death. But nobody thinks how to make a solution of this problem. But there is solution. Therefore, here it is said, martyānām. Martyānām means those who are destined to die. ṛtam icchatām. If they are willing to leave. If they want to stop calling the Yamarāja, Yamarāja means he will take you or take me, every one of us. After this body is finished, according to our karma, Yamarāja is there when we are sinful. Yamarāja is not for the devotees. That is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Ajamil Upakhan. Ajamil was a great sinful man. So, at the time of death, somehow or other he remembered nṛṇām. So he was very fond of his youngest child, and the Yamarāja, not directly by sending his men, Jamadut, so they are very fearful. So at the time of death, this Ajamil saw these fearful creatures, very odd looking. So he was very much afraid. Who are they? He thought, because he was very much affectionate to his youngest child, so his name was nṛṇām. He called him, "Nṛṇām, please come here, I am very much afraid." But you see the power of chanting the name of nṛṇām, he immediately became eligible to go to Vaikuntha. He did not mean Narayan, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives his commentation that he remembered real Narayan. After reference to the context, when he called for his child, Narayan, he remembered real Narayan, because in his boyhood, when he was up to his youthhood, he was very sincere devotee of Narayan, a son of a Brahmin, but he fell under the clutches of a prostitute. Therefore, after mixing with the prostitute, his whole spiritual activity stopped. That is natural. So he became too much inclined to the prostitute, and he became a drunkard, he became a thief, he became a gambler, meat-eater, and debauch. All these qualifications he acquired by the association of one prostitute. And in this age, our only business is to mix with prostitute. Just see our position. How much fallen they should be. There is open market for prostitution. This is modern civilization. By the association of one prostitute, Ajamil was a Brahmin son, very regulative, following all the rules and regulations. But as soon as he associated with a prostitute, he became fallen down. So, this man remembered Narayan. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he supposed that simply calling the name of his son was not sufficient. He remembered Narayan. But according to Shastra, that Narayan, the holy name of the Lord, if one chants even neglectfully, he also gets the chance of being liberated. That's a fact. There is one statement in the Nishinga Purana that a Mohammedan was attacked by a wild boar, and they killed by the tusk on the nose. So while the boar was killing that Mohammedan, he uttered haram. Haram. Haram is a Urdu word, but this word is found in Puranas also, haram. Haram means condemn. Condemn. So the Mohammedans, they do not eat the flesh of pig. Just like the Hindus, they do not eat the flesh of cow. Similarly, this flesh of pig is haram. So, he did not mean Rama. He wanted to say, condemn. This word is condemned, haram. But he got the result of chanting haram. Haram, oh my Lord, Ramachandra. He got the result. So, the holy name of Krishna, Narayan, there are hundreds and thousands of names of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, any name, if you chant, you get the result. That is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. nṛṇām bahuda nijasattva shakti tatrārpita niyamita smaranena kala. The person, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his name, they are identical. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is instruction. If you chant the holy name of Krishna, Krishna, the Supreme Person, that is not defined. That is Krishna absolutism. Krishna and Krishna's form here. They are not different. Krishna's form can give you the same result as he can do being personally present. That is Krishna's absolutism. So, nṛṇām bahuda nijasattva shakti. So in the name of Krishna, there is complete potency, as it is in Krishna personally. Therefore it is so important. In this age we are so fallen, it is not possible to understand Krishna as he is. But if we associate with Krishna's name, then that is also association with Krishna. This is the advantage. nṛṇām. So as you associate with Krishna in his sound form, so you become purified. Sannatang sakata Krishna punna savana kirtana. This is the advantage. So, everyone's duty is to stop this birth and death problem by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That is the only duty. And this should be taught from the very beginning of life, just like these pious children, those who are dancing here, taking part in this meeting, you see. And on one side you can see that this is the only path of Krishna realization, that even a child can take part in it. He has no education, he has no knowledge, but the method is so nice that they can also take part, they can enjoy with their father and mother. There is no other yoga system. There are many yoga systems, but this bhakti yoga system is so perfect that the great-grandfather of the child and the child himself, anyone can take part in it. That is practical. They are dancing here, sometimes they are chanting. These things are going to their credit of spiritual advancement. The deity worship is introduced for the general public, that anyone who will come, who will see the deity, will chant the Hare Krishna mantra, dance little, or play the kartar, somehow or other. If somebody is engaged in Krishna's service, that will be credited to his account. Yes, this living entity has advanced so much. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Salpam api yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Even you do very little of this process of bhakti yoga, it can save you from the greatest danger of life. Salpam api yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. The example is this Ajamil. The Ajamil, in the beginning of his life, he executed some service to the Lord under the instruction of his father, and that was in his credit. So, when he became a first-class sinful man and was dying, so somehow or other he chanted the name of Narayan, and he became saved. He became saved. Even though it is taken as a chance, but the chance also gives him the benefit. So as soon as he uttered the name of Narayan, he became eligible to be transported to Vaikuntha. And immediately Narayan sent his men, Narayan Duta, just go and save this man. He is being harassed by the Jamaduta. So Jamaduta, they were taking away him. In the meantime, the messenger from Vaikuntha, Narayan Duta came, stop, no, you cannot take this. So they were surprised. Oh, who are these? So good looking. Because they are very odd looking. And they did not see any good looking. Especially from Vaikuntha they are coming with 4 hands, very nice. In the Vaikuntha, the people are also exactly looking like Narayan. Just like in this planet, the president is there, so far bodily features are concerned, there is no difference. And the president has also 2 hands, we have also got 2 hands. Similarly, in the Vaikuntha Loka, the president is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he has got 4 hands. So the devotees or the inhabitants there, they have also the similar feature of the body, 4 hands. So these Jamaduta were surprised that you are looking so gentle, so nice, why you are stopping in our duty? This man is sinful, it is our duty to take to Yamarāja, mṛtyuḥ. So there was argument and their attempt was foiled by this Narayan Duta. So when they came to their master Yamarāja, that this is our first experience that somebody else took away from our hand the person who was to be brought here. So is there any greater personality like you, more than you? So he explained, yes, I am servant of Narayan. So in that time Yamarāja advised that to a devotee you shall never go. It is not your jurisdiction. That the police jurisdiction is for the criminals, not for the gentlemen. Similarly, Yamarāja's duty and his servant's duty to take away to the Yamarāja only these sinful men. And those who are devotees, they are supposed to be not sinful. Naturally, they should be sinless. That is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Without becoming sinless, one cannot completely devote himself in Krishna consciousness. Jesham antagatam papam jananam punya-karmaṇam te dandamaho nirmukta bhajanti maṅ. A person can be completely engaged in Krishna consciousness business if he is completely sinless. Of course, by becoming Krishna conscious, even there is little tinge of sin, it is evaded gradually. But one should be very alert. It is not that because I am Krishna conscious, and by becoming Krishna conscious or chanting Hare Krishna mantra, I am getting out of the jurisdiction of sinful activities. This should never be thought of. We should be very much alert. Because Maya is very strong. As soon as she gets the opportunity, immediately captures. So we should be, therefore it is called ṛtam icchatām. ṛtam icchatām. So they should try to avoid sinful activities if they actually want relief from this cycle of birth and death. This is the program. So Krishna consciousness movement is in support of this desire. One must be serious and execute Krishna consciousness, follow the rules and regulations, very simple, and chant Hare Krishna mantra, and they will be saved from mṛtyuḥ, Yamarāja. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Again, very, very, very wonderful instructions given by Srila Prabhupada, how we are supposed to conduct our lives and why we're supposed to conduct our lives in that way, with examples. The Ajamil example, the Muhammadan example, like that, and Prahlad Maharaj, all that Srila Prabhupada went through to make the point that we should take Krishna consciousness seriously. And then if we do that, then we have a very, very good chance of going back to Godhead and stopping the cycle of birth and death. So dear devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have comments that you want to make, if you have questions that you want to ask, then we can have a discussion or Krishna Katha, Krishna conversation among ourselves. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments or takeaways? Anybody that's something that really, really struck a chord with you and you want to repeat it for the benefit of devotees? Okay, Shane, I see you raised your electronic hand. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Accept the obeisances, God, Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I thought it was interesting how the the falling in lust can lead to so many different sinful activities. It's how that's such a catalyst to such a dark road. Also, there's the interesting story of how the dying old man was focusing on the girl instead of the emperor that was there. Just goes to show, how serious it is, how much we can get attached to lust. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, very, very important and very, very significant realizations you picked up from this. Very, very good. Thank you for sharing it with us. Any other comments or questions? Still have a pretty decent amount of time left, so any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. If you can speak a little louder, it sounded a little soft here.
Yeah, I like the point at the end. Srila Prabhupada mentions, Krishna consciousness is very simple. Follow 4 regulatory principles and chant Hare Krishna. That will save from the mṛtyuḥ and Yamarāja. That was, very simple instruction and very prominent also. So I like that very much.
Thank you very much for bringing it up. We need to get relief from the cycle of birth and death. we get busy when we're younger for so many things that we learn, and then of course we try to live life as best as we can. But when we get to the older ages, latter period of our lifetime, and the body slows down, it's very, very obvious to us now that the body can't do much, and all kinds of diseases are springing from practically every part of the body. That's when you realize, Prabhupada mentioned that you don't want this body anymore. And but the Buddha should go to even a higher level of saying, we don't want this material life anymore, because it ends in disappointment, especially what the body does when it becomes older. Thank you again for, yes, it is very simple process to follow to get ourselves relief from the cycle of birth and death. Prabhupada said that's the program. Hare Krishna.
Hare
4 regulative principles and chanting.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Any other question? Any other comments and questions? Or questions, sorry. Okay, I'll add a little bit of my own, not add, but just notes that I took, some takeaways. Excuse me. Srila Prabhupada started talking about different grades of life. Those who are born for a very short while and leave the body, or born and leave the body after a short while. He gave an example of flies. Yeah, insects, and maybe some of us have that experience. I've been here. I remember one time we were going to Detroit, Michigan, Detroit Temple in the summer. It had just rained early in the day. In the evening, it's quite warm. And there were street lights close to the temple. And the lights were on, and all of these insects, a whole bunch of them, all of a sudden they had sprung up. To Prabhupada, when he said that, it reminded me of that they get born in the evening. And they were very much attracted to light, just all over. If you came close to the post, the light, then they'll be all over you also. So we had to stay away from them. And the next morning, you came in, the heap of a whole bunch of them left their bodies. So just that evening to the next morning, that was all for these insects. So yeah, some of different grades of life, some of long durations, like those who are in Brahmaloka, or Brahma's planet, heavenly planet, the topmost planet in the material world. They live trillions of years. Trillion is a million taken a million times. They live like that. So there are different grades of life, as we talked about. Humans on this planet, we are living for about 100 years. And as things get a little degraded, even getting to 100 years is only done by very few human beings at this point. But as we said, the other planets, the duration of life is very long. Moon planet, to give an example, you can live 10,000 years according to the celestial calculation, which is 6 months of our time is daytime for them. So that's 12 hours. So if we go for their daytime, one time in the morning, to the same time the very next day, that actually amounts to 1 year of our time. So when Srila Prabhupada says 6 months, it's daytime, he means the hours like from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., the daytime. That is 6 months. So the conversion is just simply multiplying by whatever their days are, or years are, you multiply by 360, and you get the number of years, the conversion. So they live in the moon planet 10,000 years. So you just multiply the 10,000 years by 360, and that gives you a sense of how long they live. So very long time. So then he mentioned Yamarāja. Yamarāja comes at the end of life for everybody. Actually, he doesn't come himself, but his agents come. So when that time is coming, the body gets old and it's practically useless. But the desire to enjoy is still there. But old people can't really enjoy, even though the desire is just as strong. We're talking about regular folks now. The devotees are given the regulative principles to kind of tone down that that raging desire that's actually in non-devotees. So the old people become disgusted because they can't. They can't use their bodies like they used to. Excuse me. So he was talking about the emperor, Emperor Akbar. Has a tickle down my throat. Let's see. Okay. So the emperor asked, how long does it take for a person to get away from this kind of desire, especially sex desire? And the answer to this question was, well, up to the end of life. The emperor didn't believe it. So this associate of his decided to show him. He got the emperor, says, bring your beautiful daughter and let's go. Just make a point to you. So they went, the three of them, Emperor Akbar and the servant and the daughter of Akbar. So the servant took the two of them to a place where there was this man on his deathbed. He was dying. When they came in, the servant asked the emperor to look at the man, see the man's reaction. The man turned his attention to this beautiful woman, young woman, and not the emperor. He knew it was the emperor, Akbar was the emperor, but his attention, the old man's attention, turned to the beautiful woman instead. And so then the Akbar began to understand, yes, there's that desire is strong, not only strong, but it stays. So that was one point that Srila Prabhupada made. And then he said that in this planet, the man is the enjoyer and the woman is enjoyed. But in the spiritual world, Krishna is the enjoyer and everyone else is enjoyed. So that's the way it is set up in the spiritual world. In the material, so that's the normal way. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. And in Bhagavatam, the very first text, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 1, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and we are subordinate enjoyers. As we well know, even if a man is supposed to be the enjoyer and the woman is enjoyed, even sexually, it does not mean that the woman doesn't, get some enjoyment from it. Of course they do. And that is the same thing in the spiritual world. That gives a sense of what it is like. When Krishna is enjoying, those who are serving also enjoy. So Srila Prabhupada coined the term, we are subordinate enjoyers. We are subordinate. In serving Krishna, we also enjoy. In serving Krishna, even now in the material world, in the temples, when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra and kirtan, we enjoy by dancing. When we go, when the program is over and prasadam is served, that is remnants from Krishna. When we eat, definitely it's tasty. So the enjoyment is there, and it is tremendous enjoyment, especially in the spiritual world. Tremendous enjoyment. Don't think that we are subordinate enjoyers. That means we enjoy little. No, otherwise, why would it be said that the soul is Sachit Ananda? Ananda is the highest happiness that one can have. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, true enough. But serving him, there's so many benefits of enjoyment that comes from that. So that's why, and of course, here we go through problems, a little bit of satisfaction here and there, but problems, one thing after another that we have to try to deal with. Problems in our own minds, problems with other living entities, problems with the weather, and all of that. You never experience anything like that in the spiritual world. So, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that people do not know the aim of life. In the animal life, the consciousness is not developed, but in the human form of life, that there is sufficient intelligence to understand. And so then he related what life is about by bringing up the story about, or the not a story, like it's a real life situation. Narada Muni was telling Kayadu, the mother of Prahlad Maharaj, and the wife of Hiranyakashipu, the demon Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu had gone out, and not to get too deeply into the story, the demigods had captured his wife when he was gone, because Hiranyakashipu, the demon, gave them so much of a hard time. The demigods didn't like at all, but he was stronger than them. He had brought them under his control. So when he left to perform austerities, they captured his wife. And his wife was pregnant at the time. And they actually had determined they were going to kill the son or the child. After the child was born, they were going to kill him. But it was Narada Muni that convinced them that this child is actually a devotee of our Lord, so he shouldn't be killed. And then Narada Muni took the pregnant wife of this demon, Hiranyakashipu, into his care. And that's how the conversation began, because Narada Muni, around him, of course, being a pure devotee, he's going to talk about Krishna consciousness. So he started teaching Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu. And as he was talking, Prahlad was in the womb of his mother. The mother was pregnant. But when the brain cells develop fully, and of course the hearing is also there, then everything that's happening outside of the womb can be heard by the child. Not many people know this, but of course in Krishna consciousness we've been told about it. So Prahlad could hear what Narada Muni was preaching, telling his mother to do, to make proper use of life. His mother was only concerned about her husband coming, Hiranyakashipu coming, because it was going a while, and of course there was so much anxiety that she got through, she experienced because of the demigods capturing her. And now Narada Muni had kind of weathered the situation a little bit, so now she was just looking forward to her husband returning. Hiranyakashipu, the demon, the husband. But Prahlad Maharaj took advantage to hear very, very carefully and very, very alertly what was being said by Narada Muni. So this is how Prahlad Maharaj became very much interested. He knew what to do when he came out of the womb later. And of course, the whole story is there. So we want to get into how Hiranyakashipu finally got killed by the Lord Sringadev. So the aim is to stop that cycle of birth and death by being transferred to the spiritual world. In the material world, the birth-death life cycle does not stop. You have to leave. So this is the preparation. Then he gave the example of Ajamil. Born in a Brahmin family, but he got entangled with a prostitute and his life became degraded. He became a burglar. He became a drunkard, was a debauchee. But the way Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes, when Ajamil was on his deathbed, he called his younger son Narayan. And by the way, speaking about sex desire, for the prostitute that Ajamil later on, divorced his own wife and got with, Ajamil continued this whole enjoyment even up to the latter stages of his life. Srila Prabhupada, in another lecture, he said that Narayan, the youngest child, was born when Ajamil was 83 years old and still got that prostitute pregnant to have that child. But as Krishna would help him, because Ajamil when he was young, he was born in a Brahmin family, so he was really fixed up in devotee life. So those credits were there, and so Krishna helped him to name the youngest child Narayan. So when time came for him to leave, and he was in anxiety, he called his son, Narayan, come here. He wanted Narayan around him. But when he mentioned Narayan, then according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Ajamil remembered Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in desperation, he called out Narayan, because at that time, the Jamadutas, those who would come bind the person who has lived a degraded life, sinful life, and take them for punishment, they were there, and they were very horrible looking beings. But when Ajamil called Narayan, then the the helpers from Vishnu, from the spiritual world came, and they stopped the Jamadutas from taking Ajamil. And the Jamadutas were kind of surprised. This is our job. When somebody is sinful, we come, we bind them, and we take them for punishment in the hellish planet. But why are these people, they look very nice too, four-handed, very beautiful, and they've come, and why have they stopped us? So when they returned to Yamaloka, they went to their boss, Yamarāja, and they told him about their experience with the Vishnu Dutas. And then Yamarāja listened and then told them, so you Jamadutas, devotees, when it comes to devotees, those who are connected with Krishna, leave them alone. Don't go taking those. So that's a message to us, how fortunate we are. If we stay the course and we take devotee life seriously, then the Jamadutas cannot come to us. So Srila Prabhupada concluded by saying, there was another situation of Muhammadan being killed by a boar, and he called haram, but haram has the word ram in it, so he was also benefited. So we can associate with Krishna through his name like that, since Krishna is absolute. So the duty of everyone is to stop, as Nitya Prabhu was saying, stop the cycle of birth and death by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And even children can take part, their grandfathers can take part, and anyone who chants and dances, and even if you can play little cartels, they can do that also. He or she can get credit to his spiritual account, and so they have a chance to go back. So this is the way it is. Krishna consciousness movement is in support of the desire to go home. One must be serious, though. Execute Krishna consciousness, follow the rules and regulations. And which one thing I want to throw in that, if you're struggling with any of the regulations, this is the time to be very intense in the prayer to help to get to the point where all four regulated principles are being obeyed. This is what we're supposed to do. This is what we agree to do when we take initiation. We vow, literally, not just agree, but we vow to do that. So if there's struggle, there's some desires, sinful desires, and we cannot control our minds, we cannot control our desires, then the Supreme Controller is the one we have to appeal to. Pray to the spiritual master. If you're initiated, if you're not initiated, pray to Srila Prabhupada. Go up the chain of command, spiritual master first, then Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Krishna in his most merciful form. And put your case in front of him and say, I would very much like to obey all four regulated principles and chant steadily. Please help me. So in your own way, formulate the prayer like that so you can also get out of this material world and go back home. So Srila Prabhupada has really blessed us again with another wonderful lecture to be saved from there. Hare Krishna. All right. Any final questions or comments? If not, then we thank you very much for coming on. We'll continue as usual tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. And I saw your text, Nupur Mataji. Hare Krishna to you also. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.